Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Guys, I just want to say thank you for coming. And for anybody who doesn't know me, I am Stephanie West, and I'm with Polyconcept, and Polyconcept is Leads, Bullet, Journal Books, and Trimark. I do 3 of those lines. I do Leads, Bullet, and Journal Books. And I am lucky enough today to actually have Mark McKeller from Journal Books with me today. And Mark is from the Journal Books factory. He's been with Journal Books for 7-8 years. I'm going to get this right one of these times. But as you know, when I come in, I am always trying to show you a ton of products in a short period of time, and I never do Journal Books the justice that they deserve. So we are doing just this meeting today just to focus on Journal Books, and I thought there is nobody better to do that today than to bring in the guy, the expert himself from the factory, to talk to you about the product line and give you some case history, some examples, and really just some education on the line that I would not be able, fully equipped to do myself. But the one thing that I want to say right up front is, please make this interactive. We don't want it to be like just one way, Mark just talking to you guys. We want, if you have questions, feel free to ask questions. And he is probably only going to take 25-30 minutes, so feel free to speak up and ask if you have questions. And you should have 2 things in front of you. There's a sample order form and then an idea generator. The idea generator does have some creative examples inside here that are products that he does have a couple examples in, but there's a lot of stuff in here that he is not going to talk about today. So this is a great piece to take a look at. And then on the samples I'd like, if there is something that he shows today that you're like, man, that is great for so-and-so, you're working with a sales rep and maybe they have a perfect opportunity for a specific project, feel free to write it down here. A lot of the products have part numbers right on the back of the book, so you can write down that product number on the order form and we should be able to get it by that product number. Sometimes we only do limited runs, so if we don't have that exact item in stock, we will pull a similar product. So I just want to apologize up front because he does have some killer samples that we don't have additional pieces of in stock. So we will pull something that is similar if we're already out of stock on something. But samples are free, so feel free to order whatever you would like and we will get those for you at no charge. If you just want to talk projects after the meeting, we will be here for a while, so please feel free to stick around, talk to us about your projects or anything that you might have that you're working on with a sales rep or yourselves. And we would love to help you out with that, whether it's ideas or just even creative virtual things like that. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Mark.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's absolutely right. I mean, everything that I have here that I'm going to give you a look at and pass around is an overrun from a previously produced job. So like Stephanie was saying, if you see a book and you want a sample, it's actually pretty likely that we don't have that exact book with that exact branding in our samples department. But say you like something and there's something specific you like about it, whether it's the size, the cover material, the binding method, take note on that and we'll get you some different options to show you, to kind of narrow down the options for you. But I was in the office about 1.5 years ago with Steve Glertner, but I see a lot of new faces in here. Was anybody not here for that? Okay, fair enough, that's good. So basically, if you don't know anything about Journal Books, starting off, we are USA made. Our factory is in Charlotte, North Carolina. 99% of what you see, like I said, is made from scratch. It's not like a shelf item that we just decorate and send out the door. We're printers, so you can really think of us as a print house. And from where we were 2 years ago when I was last in here to where we are now, our printing capabilities have really, really expanded. So I've got a lot of new stuff to be able to show you. For those of you that were here or were not here, when you think about Journal Books, what comes to mind? What do you think of?
Journal. Just throwing it out there.
Nice notebooks, like they're good quality.
Quality? Okay.
Disposable.
Disposable?
That's
Okay.
what I think of.
Meaning reorders.
Not, yeah, exactly.
Anything else?
Sell.
I think of like trade show, like agendas and customizing
Okay.
some pages and things.
Okay.
That's really what I.
They're always more custom, I think, when I see the journal books.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. These are all, and there's no wrong answer here. That's all absolutely right on. But one of the biggest things I want to, let you know about is, when I hear more customized journals, or adding the inserts, taking it beyond that. Obviously, you think about us for the custom type projects, but do you think about us for just your turnkey stationery? No.
I do, because I know you guys have like that value line. Sometimes I'll just, and then you can actually get them through Leeds. I mean, like some of the Leeds products aren't they like this?
They're pretty similar. But that's what we want you to do. We want you to think of us, obviously if we can do the custom stuff, we can do the basic stuff. The line that Leeds carries is based off of the Journal Books product line, but it's made with different materials to fall at that lower price point. And you're just not going to have all the options as you have through Journal Books. Kind of think about it this way, like you go to Starbucks, the standalone Starbucks, you can get anything on their menu the way you like it. It is, anything that you want at the standalone Starbucks. Or you can go into the Target next door, they may have a Starbucks in there, but it only has a handful of options. That's sort of the same kind of relationship that we have with Leeds. You can get our product through Leeds, but you're not going to be able to have all the options. If you want all the options and customizations and really the opportunity to make something that's unique, one of a kind, you come over to Journal Books. But there is a little bit of crossover where we have some products that are actually identical. But and then when we're talking about custom and made to order, everybody is familiar with Shore Ship through Leeds. Okay, I want to make sure everybody understands that we can also do Shore Ship through Journal Books now too. And that goes along with that turnkey item, something that's more of a stationary, commodity-driven product. We have all of our different binding methods, whether it's wire bound, your flexible perfect bound book, or your traditional hardcover. So you have all three different binding methods at a lot of different colors, a lot of different imprint methods, all that are going to be available under Shore Ship through Journal Books. And that's as long as we get the artwork and PO in by 1 o'clock Eastern, no proof it'll ship the next day.
Mark, how would they know what items they can get on Shore Ship?
Okay. In our catalog and online, in the catalog it's going to be your first, say, 30 pages. They're all tabbed in orange. It will be labeled JB Shore Ship, and that will come through Journal Books. I know the name Shore Ship is kind of synonymous with Leeds, but you would send it through Journal Books if it is a Journal Books product.
Is there a different email for a Shore Ship order?
shoreship@journalbooks.com. So, for Shore Ship, we would have your traditional wire-bound hardcover with a one-color foil or emboss, with or without the pen port. We have the full-color options, whether it's like our Clear Value or our Clear View, where it has a clear poly cover and then a full-color insert. That can be done wire-bound with or without the pen port. Or we have our slimline style that has 120-pound full-color cover, followed by 70 sheets of filler. So you have a lot of different options for sizes, for binding methods, for imprint options, and colors, all available under Journal Book Shore Ship. And which I think is a really pretty impressive thing, considering it's a made-to-order product. I mean, that's one of the big misconceptions is that people think of Journal Books, they start thinking custom, and somewhere along the lines you start thinking custom, you think overseas, really expensive, long turn time, but that's just not the case. We have a lot of options, actually over 30 different options that we can provide in 24 hours. And one of those options is the hardbound books, or the hardbound books. It's called case-bound, some people call them hardbound or book-bound. This is going to be your traditional journal style cover with the hardcover and threadstone binding. Now, some of the products we carry, there's some crossover between Leeds and Journal Books, like let's see here, the Ambassador. Okay, this is the exact same book you find through Leeds. It's at the exact same price point. But when you come to journal books, you're able to do things like add inserts to it. You're able to add custom graphic bands. You're able to do customizations, personalizations on the cover. You can actually do full color or oversized imprinting. Where our standard imprint area is 16 square inches, you know, that can be 4 by 4 or 8 by 2, 5 by 3, and whatever change that is, as long as it adds up to 16 square inches. That's a standard imprint. But with journal books, you have the option to use the entire cover. So you're looking at a $40 setup for a standard imprint versus roughly a $90 setup to be able to use the entire cover. No bleed on this, but you can use the entire cover as long as there's a little bit of a border. Doesn't add anything to the cost of the book. So all full color options across the board, and I'm going to touch on that on a lot of different products. Full color is really the thing to go with right now. I mean, there's so many different applications for it. It's a much faster process than it used to be. In some cases, we can do it in 24 hours. In this particular case, they opted to also print the inside cover and the full color front page, first page, so that you have sort of a spread, which is a nice little option. Another thing that press is allowing us to do is include things like die cut tab sections. Now, we've always been able to include die cut tab sections in our books, but previously, you know, something like this one where it has 8 different sections with full color inserts in between the sections, that would have added 10 or 12 bucks to the cost of the book. And the turn time would have been at least 10 days, in that 10-day range. The new press is allowing us to do that much, much faster, and it's probably cutting that cost of printing in half. Especially with all the die cut sections, that would have added a cost of its own. Again, with the full color capabilities, you know, adding a single full color insert, even if that's all you're doing is a single one-sided insert in front of the book, that's the most common customization that we do at journal books. I mean, it's all day, every day. And there's a lot of power behind that because you're really taking it from being just a branded notebook, from being just stationery, to turning it into a vehicle for your messaging. For any sort of printed material that needs to go along with the campaign or event, we can add that in there so that it is that step further than just being a notebook, where it can really tell a story, it can give your product a voice, it can be functional, and something that the end user is going to hold on to because it has that information all in one place, and it's also useful on a day-to-day basis. Now, I mean, when you think about us as printers, I really do want you to think of us as printers. And what that's going to do for you is really open up the dollar that your customer is spending with you. Because a lot of times you'll have something where they have a $5 promo budget and then they have a $10 print budget, all for the same campaign, all for the same event. So what you can do by using us is kind of combine those two. All of a sudden you have one $15 budget versus spreading that money out for print and promo. So you can combine it all into one where it's actually the cost for printing may end up supplementing the cost of the book, even if it is just that single one-sided insert. But a lot of these products that I'm passing around have multiple inserts, fold-outs. This particular one has variable data on the digital insert. So it's things that we're able to do now to offer you with these digital presses that are really expanding our capabilities. Of us as a print house. I mean, that's really what we are. We do some really nice imprinting, die cutting, and bindery as well. A lot of these case-bound books used to only be able to take a blind deboss that you see here. It's a hot stamp, so it really kind of burns the imprint into the cover. It darkens it up and it debosses really nicely. But we used to only be able to do a deboss on this. One of the new presses that we just implemented we call Color Direct, and it's allowing us to print full color on any product, any size, any binding method, any textured material, almost without limitation. So where you have the Padova, which is one of our biggest sellers through Leeds and journal books, again, it's the exact same book at the exact same price point. bringing it over to journal books, we'd be able to do your edge-to-edge full-color imprint. This is something that, if it was just a deboss, it would qualify for short ship. You know, obviously taking it a little bit further and customizing it a little bit deeper takes it away from short ship, but it does give you that opportunity to have that nice leather-feeling book, high quality, high perceived value, with custom full-color covers. And so that's called Color Direct. And it's going to be available at minimum quantity. So whatever the minimum quantity of that book is, we'll be able to do full color on it. Some of our products have minimum quantities of 25 pieces. We'd still be able to do full color on a product that has 25 piece minimum.
Can you do like a wrap on this one?
We can. The full color graphic band is a really popular, really trending option right now. It's something that we've been doing for years and years and years, but just to kind of show you the power behind trending, it's something that's increased 35% over the past year or so, and that goes for almost all case-bound products. So I think I threw a number out there earlier for our short ship, the value line, express line, kind of the turnkey items. That's grown 66% over the past year. Of those, 35% are case-bound products, and 30% of that 35 are case-bound with the customizations, whether it's a graphic band, an oversized imprint, multiple inserts. You're taking that stock product and really customizing it a bit further.
Where does the graphic band end?
It's around $1. It depends on size. Like the 7x10 is going to be a little bit more because it's more paper. The 5.5 by 8.5 will be a little less. But that's one of the things that we've done in the catalog. We've tried to make some turnkey options in there so that you don't have to scramble through the catalog finding the options for a graphic band or the options for an insert. So a lot of them you'll see that we have, you know, the option for the Bohemian. You'll have the Bohemian with just a deboss, or if that's one price, or you'll have the price for the Bohemian with a graphic band, or the Bohemian with an insert. So it's all wrapped into one lump sum for you. So you don't have to do a whole bunch of back and forth looking through the catalog trying to find your options. So we're really trying to make it a lot easier for your turnkey items, which are mainly going to be found in the front of the book, of the catalog rather. But if you get to a point where you are, you know, pitching a custom product, something that is a little bit more than just, you know, a 2-color imprint or an insert, I want you to feel free to reach out to me directly. I understand that the website and catalog can be overwhelming. I mean, there's so many different options. Being that it's made to order, you know, if we were to print all of our options in the catalog, we'd have a catalog that goes on for days. So even if there's something that you're interested in that's not found in the catalog, let me know, and there's certainly something that we should be able to work out for you. One of the things that I really like doing is switching up the artwork, or I'm sorry, the cover materials on books. So as long as the minimum quantity is adding up, you can do separate batches or separate runs. So you can do 50 pieces with one type of cover material, 50 pieces with another. In this case, they did red with a clear foil, it's oversized, and then a white foil in the bottom corner. And then they did a second version on the gloss white where it's just a blind deboss of that pattern, and then a red foil in the corner. So it gives you that opportunity to switch up the covers and add some additional options. Same thing with full color perfect bound books. I mean, again, you know, the presses that we have now are set up in a way that minimum quantities, again, are coming down, and it's not adding anything to the cost of the book or the turn time if you wanted to switch up artwork. It's just the printer is set up as such that, you know, you hit print and it's going to print out at least 50 pieces. So 50 is kind of the magic number. So if you're doing 100 pieces of the full color perfect bound book, you can do 50 of one piece of artwork, 50 of another piece. So, and then, you know, we also have, like I said, you know, full color is kind of one thing, and that continues to grow. We got a lot of new capabilities there. But one thing that you always want to consider is being able to utilize the entire cover for the imprint. We showed that on some of the Bohemians that went around. And here's another one that I really like doing. mixing the media. So we have that one that was the Padova with the guitar on the cover in full color, and then we had another one that had that oversized blind DeBoss with a bleed. I really like the idea of mixing the two together. So you have an oversized DeBoss with a bleed and that full color imprint, which again, it's allowing you to offer something that has that really custom look with a retail feel. And it's something that we can do all day, every day, really quickly and inexpensively. Just a couple other options as far as imprinting the covers. We have an oversized tint foil, which a lot of times, you know, with foils, people assume that a foil means that it's metallic. It's not the case. Some foils have a dull, chalky matte finish. Some have that glossy or metallic finish. Some can be clear, like the red one that I sent around. This one actually has a tint foil, so it gives that tone-on-tone look, a little bit of a gloss, but it darkens up a little bit like a DeBoss would. On that particular material, with textured materials, a lot of times you cannot DeBoss, so in that kind of case I would recommend doing a tint foil. It gives a very similar style look. In a lot of cases people don't even recognize the difference. Or silk screening. The little pattern you see in the background here is actually a clear silk screen as well. So we've got clear on the green with the hot pink overlay. And that's just kind of to show some fun, different options that you can really utilize the entire cover of the book. Doesn't have to just be your standard imprint in D position. Work with anything automotive. Yeah. One thing that's really hot for that, that we're seeing a lot more of now, is, and I'll pass this around because I'm sure you cannot see it from here, the doing like a tire tread DeBoss on the cover. I think is a really nice option, and you know, even if you were to do that on one of the hardbound books, you can imagine doing the a tire tread DeBoss across the cover with a bleed. So say you have a tire company that has a specific tread, you could actually use their exact tread as a DeBoss. Or if you're in the situation where you can't use a specific tread, you know, we do have a no-charge creative service on the front end to help you come up with designs and concepts, and we have a lot of stock art to choose from. Has anybody used the creative service? Virtuals? Yes? What kind of project were you working on? Did you have success with it?
It was over their budget, but, they ended up, like, finding something less expensive, but, they were very impressed with it. So I think, you know, we stood out.
Good.
Because it was very creative.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing. If you have not used the creative service, I strongly recommend it. It's a service that we've designed to help you out on the front end, to help come up with designs, concepts, and a presentation for your customer, even if it is something where you're pre-selling. Like maybe they weren't ready to buy right now. But it can be used as a tool so they can see our capabilities, see what we can do, and when a project does come up in the future, maybe it's 4 or 6 months down the road, they might be thinking, hey, you know what, journal books would be perfect for this. So a pre-selling tool is always, I mean, it's a great way to sell this, because if you're waiting for your customer to ask for journal books, you know, sometimes it could be too late for our product line, which is kind of why we've designed the Sure Ship and Value line, so that we have something that we can do really quickly. Limited customizations, but something that you can offer your customer, something that is that custom looking book in a quick turn type item. So we've got the 24-hour products, the Value line and Express line, which is really driven more towards price point and commodity stationery. And then we have some of the full-on custom stuff. But right in the middle in the catalog we have what we call themed books, which we have different pre-designed options where you can present something to your customer that looks really custom, but it's something that we have as a stock design. The Exercise and Nutrition Jotter is one of our most popular themed books. It's basically just designed so that the filler is a daily exercise and food log. So a good example of how it doesn't have to just be lined pages. It doesn't have to just be stationery. You can design the filler to really meet any sort of specific need. And that's what I really like about the themed books, is that it's a good way to present the concept of not just being lined paper. It doesn't have to just be stationery or a journal or a diary. It can really be used to meet so many more needs than just that. That we've introduced to kind of go along with the theme books this year are our lifestyle jotters. They're little perfect bound versions of some of the theme books that we have. So like the exercise and nutrition log we have as a small lifestyle jotter. Some of the other really popular ones that we have with microbreweries and stuff like that popping up on every single corner. We have our logger. It's designed in a similar fashion. Or wine taster. And that can be done obviously as the smaller lifestyle jotters, which is the perfect bound version, or it can be done as the larger 5x7 wire bound version that went around first. In that theme, I'm just going to do a real quick case study on this one because I think this is a fabulous book. But in the themed section, we also have a book that's geared towards travel. It's called the Traveler's Journal. It basically has a checklist for things that you need to make sure that you need to pack. When you are packing, it comes with several full-color inserts at the front with stock designs and information. And then it goes into a filler that's designed so you can keep track of where you've been, what you've seen, that kind of thing. We were approached by someone who was working with Harley-Davidson on their annual incentive trip. And basically what they did last year was for the top 100 dealers, they invited them on a trip to Florence, Italy. About Florence, the currency conversion rates, the time change, different places to go and see, the hot spots for restaurants. They even included a fold-out map. Just a lot more to be added to this book at a quantity of only like 100, 120 pieces. So you're able to, offer your customer something that is truly custom. I mean, 100% made from scratch, made to order, at quantities that don't have to meet those typical custom quantities. We're not talking overseas. We're not talking long-term times. We're not talking really expensive.
Is there an additional charge for every insert page that you add?
It is. Mm-hmm. I mean, because it's printing. The more you print, the less it costs. I mean, that goes with a lot of what we do in this industry. But you guys get, pretty good pricing. So, we're always happy to work with you. And especially with our new capabilities, I'm telling you that the pricing for those inserts are coming down. What we'll usually do for you is, at lower quantities, if you're doing multiple inserts, that first insert is going to be at full cost, each additional is at half cost. If we're talking large quantities, then we're going to put it on a large offset press and really get you a really aggressive price. But with offset printing, it takes a little bit more time. One of the big things I've been speaking to today is how quick we can do things. That's because the presses that we use that are able to do that really quickly are digital presses. So it depends on the situation. If it makes more sense to put it on an offset press, if we have time, then that's what we'll do to make sure that you get the best price that we can get you. Obviously, turn time is often an issue. So that's why we got the digital presses. I think I passed this around last time I was here, but obviously there's a lot of new folks in the room. One of my new favorite materials is a wood grain. And this is genuine wood. We've got, that is cherry. Then we have walnut, and we also have cedar. And one of the cool things there is because it's a genuine wood, every single book is going to be like a fingerprint. It's going to be unique. And even with that being a genuine wood, one of the misconceptions that I hear from time to time is maybe you have a customer who doesn't like to use paper products because it's not sustainable, because it's not eco-friendly. Has anybody ever heard that? Okay, well, busting that myth right now. With journal books at least, we're FSC certified, which basically just means we're as eco-friendly as possible. We use plant-based inks, we use recycled materials, recycled covers. Even our wire binding is 97% recycled scrap metal. All of our paper manufacturers are domestic manufacturers that we partner with, and we make sure that those manufacturers are 3-to-1 companies, meaning that for every one tree we take down for manufacturing, we plant 3 more. I mean, we really have to look at this as this is our livelihood, this is what we do, and we want to make sure that we have a job in the future. So we're doing everything that we can to make sure that deforestation is not a problem, and we're doing everything that we can to put back into the earth. So we are sustainable, we are eco-friendly, we do as much as we can to be as eco-responsible as possible.
There was another vendor who shall remain nameless that came out with like an apple paper.
Mhm.
You guys have that?
We don't have apple paper. Our stock paper is a 45% recycled 60-pound offset. You always have the option to upgrade to 100% recycled. Because all of our paper manufacturers are domestic, if you wanted us to source a specific type of paper, we can. It's just not something that we can do really quickly. I mean, I've had people ask if we do elephant dung paper.
What?
Elephant dung paper? That's a thing. But again, because we use domestic manufacturers, that would have to come from overseas. It's just something that we don't really get into. Same with stone paper. Stone paper is a really popular option, but it's literally made out of stone and it's made overseas. So that stone paper is going to weigh a lot more than a 60-pound offset. And when you're talking about shipping that from overseas on a ship, it just gets really heavy, really expensive. It takes a long time. We can do it. It's just not going to be cheap or fast.
Okay. Smell it. You know you want to.
So we have our 24-hour products, right? Our Shore Ship and Value line, which if you're looking for one color foil, deboss, or full color, we have an option for all of those. We have an option for your wire-bound product, your perfect bound product, or your hard-bound product, all available in 24 hours. Again, that cutoff is 1 o'clock Eastern. Artwork and PO, no proof. We're somewhat flexible on that. I mean, I know Leeds has their cutoff at like midnight or something like that. We don't have triple shifts, so 1 o'clock is our cutoff. We're somewhat flexible there. Then we have our themed books, which you can always use as a template and customize it to whatever kind of needs you have. Like even the exercise and nutrition genre, if you wanted to use that as a template and say, you know, you needed to add in a place to log your daily blood sugars or your blood pressure. It's still printed to order. It's just a stock design that we have, but we can always customize it for you to meet any sort of tweak that you want to adjust on it. And then we have our full-blown custom, which, you know, I strongly recommend using the virtual or the creative team when it comes to custom stuff, because they know our limitations, which aren't really much, to be honest, but you know, they know what we can and can't do and what will work and what won't work. But always feel free to reach out to me directly. I can be your point of contact. I'm always going to keep Stephanie in the loop, or you can send it to Stephanie. She's going to send it to me. We work together. In no way am I here cutting her out of the equation. I'm here to support what she's doing and make sure that you guys all know what we can and can't do. Make sure that you know that we're here to help you in any way that we can. And I do recommend using that virtual, the creative team. It's a really powerful resource, especially if you have time and you want to do some pre-selling or proactive stuff. Does anybody have any questions? Not a single question from anyone?
I
What's the
do-
lowest price of a mass, you know, like?
No, I felt like.
The most aggressive,
5,000 of the small books that aren't.
it depends on how small you're talking.
Completely custom, but something like what you sent by, the Harley. Yeah, the Harley one.
What's the price on that?
Yeah, I like,
I would say that one was probably around $17. Because of all that additional printed information and a fold-out map. But that was also done a few years ago when we didn't have this new press. So that would probably likely come down in price some. But you know, and especially if we're talking about virtuals and the creative team, if you have a price point or a budget in mind that they're comfortable spending, let us know so that we don't show a $17 product if they have a $6 budget. Because I mean, our creative team, they're all designers. They want to show the custom. They want to show the creative. So if you have a price point, let us know. Otherwise, what they usually do is come up with a presentation that has at least 3 different products, something that's at a low price point, a mid price point, and a high price point. So we kind of cover a little bit of everything.
thanks.
I think I have a stupid question, but I had a rep who asked, he said, I have a client who just wrote a book and she needs to know where to go to print her book. And we were like, a publisher.
You can treat us as a publishing house. You can treat
Really?
us as a publishing house. We can print a book for you.
Okay.
I think the
Lots of
quantity goes
copies?
from 100 up to 250, but we can do it.
And like, could she ask for a soft cover or hard? I mean, like.
The limitations there is we would not be able to do your hardbound books
Okay.
because these are our few imports. If it's wirebound or your flexible perfect bound, which would be more like a softback book or a novel. That's completely made from scratch. You can treat us like a publishing house, and we can print that book for you.
It's up to 250 pages, you said?
No, the quantity would go from 100 up to 250. So the
Oh,
minimum
okay.
quantity goes up a little bit. But when you're talking about being able to provide a book without the publishing house costs, I mean, it definitely has that value there. Think of us as printers.
Not a stupid question.
Not a stupid question at all. I mean, that may have been something that I didn't touch on.
And we have
Oh.
samples, and we have samples.
We do have samples. One of the things that I didn't touch on, which I'm really excited about for some weird reason, is anybody familiar with the adult coloring book craze?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we've come out with our own version of it. That is, we've designed it in a way. So all right, my wife does it. My wife is a counselor for kindergarten through 5th grade. She uses these things on a regular basis. I don't quite get it. I don't really feel like it's marketable for our industry. So what we did is come up with our own version of it that I feel like does fit within our market. It's not just a coloring book. It's called the Creative Spark. So you'll have a sheet of blank paper, a sheet of coloring, a sheet of graph, a sheet of line with maybe a creative quote on there, and then another sheet of coloring, and it just kind of rotates that way throughout the book so that it's not just a coloring book. It's more of an activity book and something to get your creative wheels turning. Okay, and this is something where if you're looking at retail, you're going to find retail adult coloring books for around $10. We're under $10. Minimum quantity is 100 pieces, and at 100 pieces, under $10, you can completely customize the entire thing. Front, back, and spine, and the interior guts of it for under $10. Okay, we do have our own stock designs that you can choose from, geometric or organic. But again, you can always provide your own artwork, and it's not going to increase the cost of the book. You'll have an additional setup, but still, a custom adult coloring book under $10.
Chris was very disappointed when he opened up that email. The email that said adult coloring books.
And it wasn't a true coloring book?
He was
Oh,
very disappointed.
it's not that kind of adult coloring book.
I was all excited.
These are just squirrels and flowers.
So can you take one of those and let's say that you have
Hey,
an
I'll get you back for that girl.
then they can take like, let's say the different cars and make them adult books.
Yep. So the price is all wrapped into one cost for you. That includes the front cover, the back cover, and every single interior page. Now it's printed in black and white on the insides, but that's the point. It's
Because you're gonna color.
exactly. So they can
It's
provide
under $10, right?
under $10. I think it's $9.37.
Even with all the creative things.
Yes. Okay, so if you're adding your custom cover with your own artwork, it's going to add an $80 set. If you're customizing the interior of it, that's another $80 set. So the cost of the book stays the same.
Okay, so the question is, so for each page, so let's say I did a different car on each page, or a different whatever on each page, that's just the $180 setup for the whole entire inside? Did you hear that? That's
Because you're gonna print big sheet and cut. Right?
That's right. We're printers. Think of us as printers. I mean, you don't have to think too hard about it. Let us do all the estimating and problem solving behind it. But yeah,
You said minimum's 100, even if you want to customize.
that's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
It does not increase the cost of the book. Just a setup. And that setup, like all of our setups, it's a one-time thing. So anytime they repeat the order, we have that artwork already sized and set up for production, so there's no repeat setup.
I would think so.
I saw most of your journals have like a calendar in the back and
Yes.
stuff, but do you have any like in your pre-designs, like pre-designed planners or something?
Yeah. So that's actually been, we started off as a calendar company 45 years ago, and sort of as it evolved, it turned into stationery. But there has been a new revival on calendar requests. This is our event planner, which comes with a 12-month quarterly calendar at the front, followed by 50 sheets of lined paper at the back. That calendar that you're referring to is in the back of all of our made-to-order products. It's a 3-year calendar on one side and an important contacts sheet on the other side. And more or less, we use that as a slip sheet when we're printing the filler. So it's in there regardless. But we do have options, you know, if they want to do the calendar at the front.
Okay.
Whether it's a quarterly calendar or monthly or weekly, we have different options that are going to be available for you at no components.
Okay.
And because they're printed digitally, you can actually even customize that calendar for no additional charge, just the setup. So say you wanted to do a 12-month calendar, you can start it at any month because it's printed digitally to order. And you can even do customized date blocks throughout the year. So if you have a full calendar of events that you want to make sure all of the recipients have that calendar, we can customize that at minimal components and no extra charge.